5, 4, 3.
All right, we're here with the owner of the Marti Cafe. What in the hell? One more time, Greg. Give me a 5 count. Okay. Danny Glover popped in my head for a second, and I interviewed Danny Glover a while back, and
5, 4,
okay.
3.
All right, we're here with the owner of the Marti Cafe, Pat Cokewell. Pat, thanks for joining us.
Hi, how are you this evening?
Hi, we're doing good. Listen, how did your business become a part of Twin Peaks? How did that happen?
Well, I guess as all movies are, they send out location scouts. And so the girl came to see me and she said, we've looked at your place and another cafe to use in Twin Peaks, and could we use it? And I said, oh, sure. And she said, well, David Lynch will be up on the weekend and he'll decide which one they were going to use. So that's what happened. And it was about 2 weeks later that they came and started filming for the series. And so it was, we didn't think too much about it at the time. We closed for 3 days while they were filming, and they were in and out. And they bought pies when they were here to take to the office, but we did not know that the pie was in the movie, nor the damn fine coffee. It was, we were most surprised when it came out. And we checked with them a couple of times in the year. It was filmed in February of '89, and of course it didn't come out until April of '90. So we were just wondering if it would come out. So we were most surprised when it came out, and there's that coffee and the pie, and from there, it's lots of history into it.
How soon after the show came on did Twin Peaks business start coming to the area here?
Well, it increased a little bit immediately, but in that summer, people really started coming in, and I hired college girls that would come in and have pie, and they'd say, oh, you don't need some workers, do you? In fact, my little granddaughter was about 16 at the time, and this one girl asked, and she says, I'm sure my grandma will hire you, because the girl was real attractive. And so I did. I hired 3 college girls, and they worked out. I knew they would work out real well. So that summer was busy, and then, but the big time was when the second season started, the last of September. But of course, by then we'd had so much news media and newspaper reporters. It was just unreal. Every week in the first part of the Twin Peaks series, Como was out here, which is the ABC affiliate, doing a slip, a little film clip. And of course they interviewed me a lot, and we got phone calls that summer from all over the United States. And then in September, when they started, we had a party out here with one of the radio stations sponsored it, and so of course they kept advertising. Then the newspapers, the Seattle papers, made a big issue of it, and they had almost a full page on Twin Peaks, and pictures of the pie makers and quotes from so many people out here that next weekend we sold 60 pies per day, Saturday and Sunday, and from then on it was just a big volume for the next 2 or 3 months. And in the winters we used to start slowing down a little bit, but we didn't. It was the biggest business I had ever seen, and I've been here since 1971, when the freeway did go through town, and so I know what it was like then. I've never seen people stand at the door waiting to get in, and we had to take names, and they'd wait like 20 minutes or half an hour to get a seat. It was just unreal. And we have people calling from Seattle and making reservations, and I just stand there and shake my head. I don't believe this. I just don't believe this, It's still kind of unreal. And then in November, the first part of November, the BBC came and did a live telecast on a talk show in England. They were here at 11 o'clock in the morning, and we were on the talk show at 7 that night with Wogan in England. So that was, real highlight. And from then on, we got calls from, I got a call at 6 o'clock in the morning from a gal from South Wales wanting to know who killed Laura Palmer, because they didn't start to get in the show until October. And then Italy got it, and then France got it, and we got calls from Italy in the middle of the night, people wanting to know who killed Laura Palmer, and it just was crazy. something you wouldn't imagine happening.
And how has that changed now? I imagine with the show being over with now and the movie didn't go over too well, has the Twin Peaks business died down quite a bit?
Well, it's died down, but we're still getting, the Japanese were more into it than any other country, and they had bus tours coming over here last year from about February on, because they didn't start to getting it until 91. And we still have a lot of Japanese that come in. We had a lady from the International Travel Bureau, Japan Travel Bureau today with some college students, and we have 55 scheduled in for Monday afternoon. And it just, it does continue. I got a letter about 3 weeks ago from a young man in England that wanted me to send him some souvenirs because he was celebrating his birthday, and just, little things like that. It's not as large as it was, but I was back in Chicago and took some pies to this place where my son works, and the people there were just, they were just ecstatic about having that cherry pie, even 3 years afterwards. So,
did it ever become irritating, all the attention?
At some points in time in the beginning, some of the help was real irritated about the phone ringing so much. Luckily, or unluckily, I broke my ankle and sprained the left ankle the week before the show came out. And actually, the first picture of me in the paper was with my two cast on, because I couldn't walk. And some people in New Jersey, the people that made the cast that were on my ankles, had seen my picture in the paper showing their cast. They called me from there and wanted to send me a gift. So it's just crazy things that go on. And we've got a couple now from Michigan working on another Twin Peaks festival this summer. They're hoping to put one together to have out here in August. So you see, there's still a lot of interest in it.
Yeah, the festival last year seemed to go over really well, and I was going to ask you if you knew anything about a festival this year and anything concrete you'd heard about it.
Yes, this girl named Pat Cokewell wrote a book about the characters in Twin Peaks, and she and her husband are putting it together, and we don't have it all concrete, but it will be in the middle of August, and it won't be as large as the one last year, but she's working on trying to get some stars here, and I know 2 or 3 of them, not the prime stars, but some of them are still interested, like the log lady. Catherine Colson said she would come, and she was just a real neat lady. She just thoroughly enjoyed the atmosphere around here and the people, and just got right in and was friendly with everybody. In fact, she called me Pat, first name basis when they were here for the festival, and I thought, well, that's pretty neat that she even remembers this. But when they were filming the movie here, she was in, and we talked quite a bit, and then she sent me an autographed picture. So she did remember me and was real friendly. And one of the ladies that worked with the movie from France, that was joint ventured with some company in France, was here about a month ago and left me her card and said, I'm still waiting for you to come to Paris. So there's still connections.
This was hardly used in Firewalk with Me. Was there more stuff shot originally that they didn't put in the movie? Because it was in for probably less than 5 minutes of the whole movie.
Oh yeah, they shot, I think they said when they started cutting, they had about 5.5 hours of film that they had to cut. And so they spent a day here filming outside, and the couple of scenes that were in there, and then they came in late afternoon and were here until 10 o'clock shooting inside. And I don't think they used any of the inside shots, but that was what they said they had to do, was cut so much, and that's why it was so long getting it out, because they didn't know what to cut. They felt that a lot of it was important. So anyway, there was.
It's not TV fantasy either. You guys really do have a damn fine cup of coffee and cherry pie. Really quickly, how did the cherry pie business go from? Because you make them fresh here, right?
Yes, all of them are made here. All the kinds are.
And you were talking about the business beforehand. How many cherry pies you sold? Then the Twin Peaks fame hit. The big difference between the two of them.
Before we would make 5 or 6, 7 pies during the week, and then on the weekend it would be 12 or 15 on Saturdays and Sundays per day. And now we do have 15 to 17 on the weekdays and 25 to 30 on the weekends. That's now. Back during the peak of it, we were up 50 to 60 pies per day on the weekends then, and then we were selling about 30 on the weekdays. So, it's tripled, or 3 or 4 times what we were selling before. And our peak even more than that. So
No pun intended.
no, and the lady that was making them at the time, and of course, she just made her pie crust, and then she became, important too, because it was her pie crust, but we had to get other people to come in and make pies, and she was trying to make all the crust and wouldn't tell them what her recipe was. Finally, I just said, we've got, and she was getting tired of just doing pie crust. She would say, well, I never get to make pies anymore. So we just told them to make their own pie crust, and we went with that after it. So that's what we do now.
Best cherry pie I've had in a long time. I sound like Agent Cooper now all of a sudden. Well, Pat, thanks for being with us. And folks, if you guys want a damn fine cup of coffee and some cherry pie, Marti Cafe is the place to go. And have the address right here, as a matter of fact. It's in North Bend, Washington. And is that the number right there at the very top there? Right here.
That's the telephone number.
It's 888-1221. Please don't ring the phone off the hook with them, but it's certainly a place worth stopping by. Pat, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cherry pie.